Flash 87, Joshua Williamson writing with Christian Duce on the art. My first positive for this actually would be that I think Duce's art in this is probably better than the book's had recently.
So here's my quick take, and I'm not going to ramble on.
Sorry, you're saying Duce is better than Sandoval?
For Flash.
For the Flash.
For the Flash, yeah.
So this is what I'll say. I feel like finally Captain Cold feels like Captain Cold. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like he has that grumpy demeanor there, and he's calling Barry nerd, and he sussed out that he's a cop just based off of actions and stuff. And then we get to the part with Pied Piper showing up and magically fixing everybody with harmonics.
Yeah, I felt really quick and rushed. I agree. I think
I'm over Flash right now, and it sucks. It sucks because I want to know what's going on with Paradox, but I don't want to keep wasting twice a month on this, you know? So I think this is where I get off the bus right now.
Oh,
just 'cause,
is that actually dropping it?
Yeah, I think so. I can't. I gave up the Flash under Venditti for way worse than this. For way less, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
I do think this issue is better than the last batch.
But I mean, I think even then, like, it undoes some of the stuff that we did, like Golden Glider is like, oh, she's just straight back to cold. Like,
yeah, no,
really?
that annoyed me. There was a couple of beats I liked. I didn't really necessarily like Cold saying "stay away from my sister," but I did like the little comedy moment in the couch where Iris, she got him, they sat down with some tea, and she's like, "So we're going to talk about Golden Glider." Like, I did actually kind of get a little chuckle out of that moment. It was kind of a funny little beat.
I wish we'd seen why they were going to Arkham. I know Barry says, "Oh, well, yeah, we're just going to Arkham to keep us separate from it." But there's no moment from the police getting to that conclusion or anyone. It's just, oh, we're just going to Arkham. Like, I don't know. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah,
there was no.
Well, I mean, they can't go to Iron Heights because Iron Heights is all jacked up from stuff. But then again, they could take him to Belle Reve, right?
Yeah, and they go, well, we can't go to
Blackgate.
Blackgate. They go, we can't go to Blackgate because Golden Glider's there, and we can't be near Golden Glider. I'm like,
why?
Yeah, well, why?
Yeah.
Well, she shows up anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, but the whole point, you'd put them in separate cells anyway, so what difference did it make?
I mean, and I actually kind of like how they tease Paradox at the end. I don't like this Flash from the future because I didn't like year one.
Oh, so I groaned.
Yeah,
I genuinely out loud
I did groan. I do kind of like, though, him sort of like doing the crisis thing, you know, where he kind of
fading away.
Yeah, I do like that part of it. I like the idea of
it's a nice touch.
Yeah,
and this is where I guess you could say this is my own paradox, where I'm over it, but I'm curious to see where it goes. Because there's stuff like and just the way that Williamson brings up Commander Cold's death again, I don't really feel he's actually dead, but because he seemed too important. But then again, there's better ways to get rid of him throughout that last arc. Like, I just feel like I don't know if Williamson's just been distracted because Nailbiter's coming back, right?
Don't know.
And Flash just, I don't know. Is he getting his 100%?
I wonder if Williamson's kind of got that where, of course, his energy naturally goes towards his own passion project, his own creator-owned thing, more than this, and he's just kind of getting through the year now until this story is done.
Since I would say, like, when the Force stuff started, it started a little bit dodgy, but it wasn't terrible. Then year one happens, and it hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my cutoff is year one. But up until that point, up until the Force War or whatever, it was one of my favorite books DC was putting out. Like, it was a joy to read, even when it was a little bit silly, or even the shade shadow stuff. Like, oh, it's 2 issues, we're done. Like,
it's kind of frustrating that it's took a similar trajectory to King's Batman in that the first like 50 or so issues, sure, great, minor nitpicks here or there, but yeah, sure, right. And then it's like okay, and that's where we get like the Force War stuff here, and then year one is King's Nightmares. That's that's the parallel here. Yeah, and I don't think it's ever going to recover after that.
No, and it looks. I know I'm the Johns fanboy here, but I have so much more respect for Johns.
Can I just? I want to interject just on that parallel with King's Batman. Is that I actually think this Flash has gotten worse than King's Batman did.
Yeah.
I think while King's Batman at the end had a lot of problems, I think it felt more spiritually still connected to what King was doing than what this Flash is compared to what I liked about Flash before.
Yeah. I agree with that, but that's what I feel like the really special writers of the world, the Bendises, the Johns, right?
I could feel Connor wince there.
Yeah, I can say.
There was an eyebrow raised.
Hold on.
You have
the Morrisons, the ones that can be on titles for a long time, and it never. You were right. There's a very thought out plan, right? And that's how Bendis got to 100 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Like,
more than
he
that.
knew what he wanted. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. But that was like hundreds of good mark for me to go off of. Whereas with Johns and all his Green Lantern saga, right? It really wasn't until New 52 when it started to feel like it was going off the rails. And then he got 20 issues into that, and that was it. But even from there, we had Jessica Cruz introduced. And he was doing other things for Rebirth at that time. And so I look at these other writers and just seeing how much they've done. Because I think, what was Morrison's by the time Batman was done between the minis and
it wasn't as high as 100, but it was
it's 3 omnibuses worth.
Yeah, so like, and there was a plan there as you go through it, so.
I think the key difference between we're talking about Morrison and Johns, and I haven't read enough Bendis to know, and I don't want to use Ultimate Spider-Man because I think that's a little bit different. With Morrison and Johns, they have vague outlines, like they'll tease things years in advance, but they don't know exactly what they're going to do. They know, I've got an idea, I'll get to it, and we'll kind of take some detours along the way. But they manage to find that idea still at the end and come through. Whereas King's Batman, okay, that first arc, we ended with the Gotham go and be like, well, and then Bruce Wayne died or whatever it was, and that was just forgotten about. That was just gone.
Yeah, never came up again.
And there are things like that that just don't work. And
I mean, there's a chance that'll pop up in Batman, Catwoman, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think like with King, I'm excited for anything at 12 issues or less. I'm still excited. You tell me he's on a book going to do 100 issues, I go, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure he has it in him right now.
So, and I also feel like the double shipping is what's killing it too.
Yeah, actually,
it's just too much.
That's an interesting actual parallel. Is like, what is King's 100 issue run of Batman if it was single shipping the entire time? It would be. I mean, there's no way of doing this, but it'd be very interesting if you could compare those two versions and see which one.
Yeah, it has to be more economical. I feel, because again, that's how I feel. Like, I didn't love all of John's as Green Lantern, right? But being that it was only coming out once a month, it felt like that issue had to land more, right? Or I remember being disappointed when something didn't work out.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking not so much the writing quality. I'm thinking more about things being set up and then not paid off. Things like that. Things where the planning is changed. Because we're talking about how all these things came up and then never went anywhere and things like that. Like, if there's time to really, if you had twice as much time to work in each issue early on, those early issues, is the planned stuff more thought out? Is things like that? Like,
okay,
there's a possibility. There's a possibility that it does benefit from that. Would it be such a big improvement that it would really be worth rewriting history to make it happen? I don't know. It might be only a 10% improvement, for example, as opposed to some night and day thing that's worth arguing about, because ultimately it might not actually make that much of a difference to where it's worth sort of criticizing DC in the future if the Tynan's run is going to be double shipping now when it maybe wasn't before. Is it worth critiquing that? Maybe in the sense that it's taking him off another book that you wanted him on, but other than that, is it going to affect the quality of Batman itself? The art's definitely something that's up for debate, but we're not really talking about art, we're talking about writing quality here.
No.
Yeah, we're talking about coming from that one person first, because I think art is a very tangible, obvious thing we can point to and see what double shipping has caused. Batman already has had artist changes, and we can point to these and see them. We can see them in Flash. We could see them in King's Batman as fill-ins here, or very fortunate now that there were rarely any bad artists. To be honest with you, we were lucky in that regard. But you can tangibly point to fill-ins. I mean, even down to the start of the book where it was announced as, "Hey, we're doing 2 artists." It was Janin and Finch.
Yeah.
And okay, if this is monthly, it's probably just Janin. you probably never have that in the first case. It's announced as one artist, and that's it for a while. You might have an odd issue off here or there, so we can have a break, but you don't have these full extended arcs of, okay, someone else is doing this for this arc.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, I agree. It makes me sad as a Flash fan that now this is the second time I'm going to stop reading Flash. And let's see if I hear from you guys.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, let's see when the next issue comes out if Matt actually gives it up or if he just reads it out of habit.
I took it off my list at the shop.
Oh,
so yeah, but digital's still a thing.
It is, but I have to have restraint. So
I hope something happens in the Flash this next issue. Not that it's good per se, but a character appears or something. I can just say to Matt, "Hey, this character appeared," and Matt's like, "Damn it, I need to read it."
Although that said, if I wait and get them on it, maybe there'll be a sale and it won't, be as much of a financial burden.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I think I'm done.
Yeah, Flash.
I think Matt is probably making the smart choice.
Probably. I'm seeing it to the end. As much as
but that was the difference with King. I could understand King's Batman where it was going, and I don't know where this is going. Like, I don't see a clean way.
I think the difference as well. King's, we knew 100 issues, and he's done, and then it was cut shorter, but we got the other mini. But we always knew that. Williamson has never stated 100 issues I'm done. We're just assuming come 5G he's off and there's someone else and they're kind of fresh start.
I'm pretty confident.
I am as well, but there's never actually been a statement of I know what my story is for 100 issues or anything like that. It kind of does feel like he's just making it up as he goes along.
I will be shocked if he's still in the book next year. At least, I think by the time we hit the start of 2021, if he's not already off the book, we'll know that he's leaving in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, probably.
But that'd be my guess. Matt, what are you giving this issue?
4.5.
Connor?
4.
I guess I'll be Mr. Positive. I'll give it a 5.